Do short theme song intro. Hello, welcome to Left of the Box. Bonjour, bienvenue. I'm Sandy. Don't you just love a good political stunt? I mean, we all must love them considering how often our politicians take it upon themselves to make a point by doing something for publicity, even if it's counterproductive, useless, and harmful to the people they claim they're trying to help.
Social assistance rates in Ontario have been unlivably low for a long time, but Doug Ford and Marilee Fullerton just don't seem to care. So for the next 2 weeks, my colleagues and I are going to live on the welfare diet. That's the amount of money that a person on social assistance in Ontario supposedly has to spend on groceries.
Okay. And she's from the NDP. The left-leaning progressive party. Yeah, don't. How about try not doing that? There's a like and subscribe button. Please push them. If you're on Twitter, so am I. I'm on ODSP, so I know what it's like to be broke for longer than 2 weeks at a time. If you can, please become a patron or purchase something off my wish list to help build my studio. Links are in the description box below. Okay, so this little stunt is already said and done. And do you know what they found? It was difficult, huh? Go figure. Maybe if Chandra had actually talked to people who live on social assistance, she wouldn't have said this.
So for the next 2 weeks, my colleagues and I are going to live on that grocery budget. That means $47.60 per week for groceries at our local grocery store, which we're going to go to on foot because people on social assistance don't have cars.
Don't speak for us, Some of us do drive. Some of us on disability supports can't walk to the store because, wait for it, they have a disability preventing them from walking or carrying their groceries. They have to rely on taxis, people driving them, or delivery services, which takes a big chunk out of that $47. Some of us don't even have $47 a week for groceries. After paying rent, some people only have $47 left over, and somehow that's magically supposed to be able to cover the rest of their expenses for the month. But this group of 5 NDP politicians like showing off their groceries for the week, saying, "Woe is me, this is all I could get," or acting proud of themselves that they were able to get what they wanted and still had a little left over to splurge on a piece of fruit. They just don't get it. Any given week on top of groceries, you may also need toilet paper, soap, cleaning supplies, a brace for your knee that ODSP won't cover, over-the-counter medications, masks, pads, tampons, and other things people need on a daily basis.
It's going to be tough to live on this amount, but we're doing it because hundreds of thousands of people across Ontario are forced to live on this budget or less, week in and week out, with no end in sight. Because this government has legislated poverty with OW and ODSP rates.
She said it there, but she missed the point, as in there was no point to this little stunt. This isn't the first time I've seen reporters or politicians do this sort of thing. What they don't get is that it teaches them nothing. Most people can tolerate bad circumstances if they know it's going to be temporary. When you're on assistance, it's a constant stress of if you will have enough to eat, to pay the bills, to pay rent, something they'll never know. During those 2 weeks, if they had an extra expense or there was an emergency, they had the money needed for it. They talked about how the carb-heavy, unhealthy foods made them feel tired after a day. They don't know what it's like to have had that diet for years and what it does to a person's health and well-being. They don't get how being forced to live in legislative poverty makes people sicker, unable to recover from injuries, gives them added physical and mental disabilities. They don't know the desperation people living like this have and seeing no end in sight, then watch as a handful of privileged people put themselves through this hardship and claim they understand. They don't know what it's like being talked down to, treated as less than, to lose supports, friends, families from a disability they never wanted. They don't know what it's like being treated as a burden to society, as a waste of resources, and to be told the world would be better off without you. It's like going to Taco Bell and then claiming you understand what Mexican food is like. According to them, they did it to push the province to double Ontario Disability Support Program and Ontario Works payments. Serious question. How likely was this to make a difference? Did the Conservative government suddenly say, "Look at these poor, privileged people suffering. Now I understand. We're not providing enough supports to people"? Of course this didn't happen. That's not why they did it. The only thing that comes of a stunt like this is raising the profile of the person who did it. It's an attention grab.
And I invite you to send us your stories at the email address on the screen, because we want to amplify your voices and make sure that this government hears just how hard it is to be poor in Ontario.
You could have started with that. You could have talked to us, platformed us, allowed us to tell our stories instead of treating us like children unable to speak for ourselves. In case you haven't noticed, I have no problem speaking my mind. The NDP is using this as a way to go after the Conservatives, but didn't bother to mention the Liberals were in power for years and did nothing to help the situation. The NDP had to be pressured into changing their campaign promise of increasing the rates by 30% to doubling them. Stop treating us like we need to be looked after and provide us with the means we need to live our lives. No one chooses to be disabled, yet this government is constantly punishing us for it and manipulates the public into thinking we're undeserving to exist in society, that we don't deserve to be at the poverty line, that we deserve to live so far below it, it's literally killing us. Hey, NDP, do better than this. If your next leader doesn't represent what the NDP was built on and what your base wants, you deserve to lose party status, and that helps no one. We need drastic actions now. It's already too late for many of us. So the next time you're feeling up to a public stunt, take a moment and really consider, who are you doing it for? It just makes me so mad seeing what's happened with the NDP. They really should have taken me on as a candidate when they had the chance, because if I ever get the opportunity, I'm taking over the party and none of them will have a job after that. Please hit buttons. I know I sure do. If you can, check out my wish list and see if there's anything you can purchase. If you come across a better deal or think of something that should be added, let me know and I'll update the list. I know times are tough, but if you can, please become a patron. A special thanks to those of you who already have. Links are in the description box below. Salut, à la prochaine. Thank you for watching and stay tuned. I'm Sandy, wishing your tomorrow is better than your today.